Hello, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we'll be looking at the Grand Mafia, and I'll be focusing on how do you set up your equipment and your UB specialties set so that you're able to achieve the best combat stats or the combat stats that you want. Yeah, so before I move into my video, I want to give some tips on the specialties, the UB underboss specialties, and how you should be spending your specialties point. So there's a lot of different ways that you can set your underboss specialties to increase your crew attack and also your troops attack. But the main focus of the UB specialties is to increase your troops attack. So there are a couple of ways, and I think after playing around with the specialties point, the best way is to set up your specialties point from the bottom up. So what I mean by this is that firstly, you should be unlocking your crew defense and crew HP buffs from the bottom and then work your way up. So we got HP and defense right at the bottom, and over here at the top we got another HP and defense, and right up to crew attack. Next, you have to focus on what unit type you want to improve. So let's say you want to have a dual troop formation, you should add the points from the bottom. So let's say you want Hitman followed by bikers, you should add a Hitman first and max the Hitman, and then next go on to bikers and max the bikers, and then move one tier lower, Hitman, you would add over here Hitman attack 2. So this, I find it is the best way for you to get the most troops attack out of your specialties by adding from the bottom, and this would depend on how many troops that you want to improve on the combat stats. And just to let you know, this is how your stat looks. You got your basically a primary troop attack, which is Hitman, 61.7% in attack that you have gained, and also the biker attack 54.35%. So in total you kind of get about 115% increase in attack, excluding the tertiary troop attack of 2.25%, quite negligible. And why I say this is the best way is because if you were to add from the bottom, some people say you have to add from the bottom to get a good stat. So what they mean by this is, for example, everything held constant, the crew remains unchanged, anything related to the crew distribution point will be the same. And what they mean by that is that let's say you want Hitman and then bikers as your two main troop that will be attacking or raiding, you add it from the bottom or from the top, they say. 1, then followed by Hitman 2 and then Hitman 3, and then you want a biker next, right? So you add from the bottom the biker, and then any remaining points will go over here, biker attack 2 and then biker attack 3. So this is what they mean by add from the lowest first, which is the Hitman 1 followed by 2 and 3. Some people say this will be the better choice, but I disagree, because after you add in this manner, you would see that yeah, your Hitman attack increased from 61 to 70%, but your biker attack only has a really low 19.7%. as compared if you add from the bottom, you will have a biker attack of 54%. This is why I would totally recommend you to add from the bottom. Of course, if you want a single troop raid, you don't really have to care because you have extra points to spare and can put whichever area that you want. But your remaining specialties point that you get from like only adding to one single troop attack, you should add it from the back as well, because currently from the front you can see it's 19.7%. But if I were to reset the point and add these biker points up from biker 3, you can see that instead of 19%, I get 29%, which is a 10% increase. So every time you add your points, remember to add from bottom of the specialties point set, because this is where you get the most attack. People argue that you should add from the bottom because they see that, oh, once you reach 15, once you pump 15, you get 7%. Then they look at the one at the bottom. Once you pump 15, you get 5.4%. However, once you reach, I think, beyond 20, 25, you would get a lot more increase in your percentages. that you'll be receiving for the troops attack. So this is the first part on how you should be adding your specialties point. My second point will lead me to a few spreadsheets. So over here you can see my spreadsheet, and there are 3 main rows and 3 main columns that I want you to focus on. The first column mainly focuses on UB specialties and how you can distribute your points, which I've mentioned just now. And the first row of the UB specialties basically means a top approach where you have 2 main troops that you want to buff, your primary and your secondary troops. And usually this is a kind of stat or approach that you want, that you could use for mixed raid, which I will explain later, or a 2 troop raid, which is a little bit rare. Usually people do either single troop or a mixed raid, which is a 3-3-3 raid. The second row of UB specialties focuses on trying to make a stronger mixed raid by buffing your weakest attack troops to up to 54% as shown. And of course the last one is a single troop raid, which is you want to just buff your primary troops, mainly buff your primary troops and not your other troops at all. The second column and the third column compares the different Grand King set depending on how you build your King set, or even like Godfather set, but this one is mainly focusing on your King set. And the second column means that you have a King set which is all the same, which gives the same troop buff. Let's say you have an entire Grand King set that only buffs Biker and Hitman. So this is the scenario that I'm giving. And for the third row, you have a mixed Grand King's equipment set, more of a well-balanced. And the best well-balanced set you can get from Grand Kings is based on the 3 unit attack type. The first unit 110, second 105, and the weakest is a 95% attack buff. So if you got a mixed raid, your odds are better in usually defense because you don't really attack using a mixed raid. But your single attack offensive is a little bit weaker. As you can see right at the bottom here, you only gain a maximum of 300% if you have full grand jewels in your equipment, excluding family crystals and of course the Governor's War specialties, as compared to 345 or 45% difference for your single troop rate if you have a mixed equipment approach. So as you can see, the main difference in how you can buff up your weakest troops if you perform a mixed raid is to have jewels attached to your equipment. So as you can see, beside each of the equipment there are jewels, and there's 120% of attack allocated to it. So the 120% comes from full grand attack jewels that is attached to your equipment itself. You have to have at least 8 grand jewels for this to happen. If you have less than 8, the percentages of this would be lower. After adding the specialties point and the grand jewels, you can see that your weakest troop link wouldn't be as far as the rest, especially for the mixed equipment. Is a lot closer and you'll probably be more well balanced. But for the same equipment type, the difference is about 100%. This is also not forgetting that you have many other ways to buff your stats. The main ways you can actually buff your stats even higher for your weakest troops is the Governor's War specialties points, and also the family crystals, which can get quite a lot of attack. And even for a grand family crystal, probably at least a 15% attack increase if you're lucky, 15 to 20%. So considering all of these possibilities where you can increase your attack even more, you can stick to a same equipment type, because this will have more benefits of you able to perform single troop raid. And what you just have to do is to collect family crystals or just reset your Governor's War specialty so that your family crystals and Governor's War specialties would give you the same single troop type that you want to raid with. Therefore, I don't really think it is highly necessary for you to obtain a mixed equipment set. So over here, I'll just show you what are the ways or which equipment you have to exchange in order to get the best balance. So this shows the King set. So example, for the first row, it is a Biker 110, 105 for He-Man, and Bruiser 95. And this is basically how the different equipment types, for example, range will require bruiser and biker king's equipment, and so on and so forth. So this is for the kings, and for the godfathers, this is just some of the more popular sets that some of the top players use. And you can see there's always some sort of 100% difference for a lot of the players. So they have equipment sets that always bust up 2 particular troop type, and the other one is always lagging behind, because I think if they want to have a mixed rate, they can always count on the specialties points or other like jewels, family crystals to back up their weaker troop type. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video and how you can set up your specialties point, and also giving you an insight on how you can also like create your king's equipment or godfather's equipment so that it will suit whichever combat stats that you want to achieve, a mixed or even like a single rate advantages and disadvantages. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys again real soon.